Hey, what is up guys? My name is David Lee and I'm Asian with Hat, and today we're going to be talking about a very controversial, I wouldn't say controversial, but it's been getting some recognition out in the firearms community and the airsoft community and the night vision community. And this is the Somogear PEQ. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't recommend this for firearms, but I do recommend it for airsoft. And I don't know why this is a problem, but there's a lot of people out there that say that this is something useful for your firearm. And I'm here to tell you, it is not worth trying to spend $200 for your firearm. Is it worth it for your airsoft? Absolutely. But there's been a couple people out there, even people that I've known, that have tried to tell me that these are reliable. And I personally know the owner. I say personally, I'm actually very acquainted with the owner, and he's a very nice guy. But he openly says this is not designed to work with with firearms. This is designed for airsoft, and this has to do with I want to say their government that they're having to deal with, and they can't really produce stuff like this as a clone of a PEQ. They know how to do it, they just can't do it. So there's things in here that you can't, that are not reliable on here that I would say is good to use on a firearm. And I've used this on a CAC SR15, put 600 rounds, and the PEQ failed. And I have two of them over here, and the reason why is because this one's for airsoft, and I dedicated this one to put on an airsoft gun, and I wanted to at least tell you guys this is not something I would use, and I've known that this would not be usable, but I wanted to put my money where my mouth is. Now, that being said, I've had a lot of people that would come at me and attack me over it, but I will tell you right now, I knew that there was going to be a lot of people coming and making a lot of jokes about me using some airsoft PEQs on here. Meanwhile, I do personally own two full power PEQs on here, and I didn't do it just because I was really dedicating it as a main squeeze. I was doing it mainly just to actually prove a point that these are not something that you would use on a firearm. I would never use it as a backup plan. I would never use it for something that is designed to be life-saving. Because at the end of the day, cutting corners on something that is never designed to actually work with it is not going to end well, and Murphy's Law will come back and creep up on you. So some of the issues that I've had on here, just so that way we can get out of the way, is that does this hold zero? Yes, to a degree, but it lost zero. I want to say the Viz laser lost zero at 600 rounds, and it was after a night shoot indoors at a local gun range. So what I did, shot about 100 rounds in addition to the 500, ran to the 100-yard range to check the zero from there, and the Viz laser was a couple feet off. Not a couple MOA off, a couple feet off at 100 yards, which is atrocious. So to say the least, something in here has gone wrong on here, and it's not holding zero. Yes, you can go re-zero it, but you know, how long is that going to hold zero in the end? Another thing to talk about on here, using the PEQ with a battery, there are some issues where the battery will actually not function depending on its mood. And that also has to do with the fact that if I try to turn it on, sometimes while turned on a SR15 or any gun, even suppressed, that the PEQ will shut off. Now, one solution you could do is you would put an O-ring in between the battery housing from the back for the spring, so that way the spring is making full contact and is not getting jostled by the recoil. Basically what you're getting is some of the things that happened back in, I want to say 2007, 2008. This is some things that was explained to me by my friend Robert at High End Armament. The issues that happened with EOTech initially with their batteries being on a vertical setup. So what I mean by vertical, let's see, where's an EOTech over here? Ah, there's an EOTech. So this is on my airsoft gun. This is a real EOTech over here, EXPS 3-4. And as you can see over here, they did it horizontally. And the reason why is because when there's a recoil going on over here, the battery is not going to get jostled as easily and lose contact with the spring in the back. Actually, I can't remember which one's the spring in here. Anyway, so the issue or the solution that EOTech did it horizontally. But for a long time, back when they had the 5.52, for example, or the 512, depending on how long they would how long they've been, mounted with a battery, the spring could get worn out. Now, I want to say, it has been for sure resolved, but that was something that happened in about, more than a decade ago, where the battery was getting jostled and it would lose contact with the EOTech and it would just shut off. So, that's one thing that was a major detractor, and a lot of people found a solution, which is to add a couple of O-rings on the backside, so that way the battery doesn't get jostled easily. And I'm repeating this, but another thing that I had an issue with on here, just to make sure, so this is the one that I was using on my rifles, and it does not turn on anymore. As you can see, try to turning on, nothing turns on, and that is because, well, Murphy's Law happened. So no, it does not turn on anymore. So at 600 rounds, this died, and then on top of it, the vis laser is off, way the fuck off. So when it comes to IR, I'm actually unsure at this point, and I didn't want to try and continue this because it was just a fruitless thing. But I told many people this is not a worthwhile item to use on a real firearm. There are many items out there you could use. For instance, you could have you could spend or save a lot of money, or save some money for down the road, and buy a full power PEQ 15. This is one I've used for the last 2 years, I want to say. I want to say maybe last year, but it is worn, a little bit beat up, but it does work, and I love using full power PEQs, quite honestly. But you had to spend about $2,000 used on on the open market to actually try and find one of these, if you can find them. You can find them on eBay, and then you can also find them on Facebook. But these are one of those things that they're hard to find as is, because the demand for them has gone way up. Even though you can find them brand new, some of them go brand new for like $3,000, or you can buy an LA5 for, I want to say, even way more. Another option you could do is you can get another option you can also use is a Zenico Perst 4. You can also get a Perst 3. Although the price for a Perst 3 has gone significantly up, so has the Perst 4 because of the Russian embargo. So if you can get them, good luck. But that being said, a Zenico Perst 4, I would personally say, is a good entry into using a full power laser. If you don't need an illuminator, then this is a perfectly fine Perst. Now, that being said, all these full power PEQs or full power lasers, you're never going to find maintenance on them. But there's definitely a couple people I want to say that you can actually get maintenance for the PEQs, the PEQ 15s. But for the Perst, good luck trying to find anyone that will give maintenance to these things, because there is no way to get maintenance unless you send it back to Russia and pray to God that it will ever come back. But yeah, that's another issue with the Zenico Perst. But that being said, I've never heard anyone complain about the Zenico Perst, that often. There's been a couple horror stories if you were to, own a full power D-ball, and those were supposedly more common to actually break. But on a PEQ 15, I've actually asked a couple people, can those break? And it's very uncommon. It's very rare to find a PEQ 15 broken, unless you decide to drop it on, a hard concrete area, which, a lot of things would tend to break at that point on for something that is plastic. So, is this something I would use for airsoft? Absolutely. It's a fantastic PEQ box to use for full power. I would say this is almost up on par with a GMP D-ball. The only thing I would definitely say, though, is that don't use it on a real firearm. This is not worth using on your firearm, especially on your main squeeze. It's not. I don't know why people would spend $300 on these when you could spend another, or save a couple $300 more dollars, or I say $300 more dollars, but save your pennies and just try and buy a full power PEQ in the end. Because at the end of the day, you should try and buy once and cry once if you can. But I get it. Some people can't. But I think there are better options out there that you could invest into. For instance, you could buy a better red dot. You could buy a better flashlight. You could buy, a CAC SR15 if you really wanted to. Although, that's a hard bargain to chew down. But it's possible. If you have the willpower, you can buy anything you want. But that goes back to what I'm talking about. You could buy a suppressor. You could buy another red dot. You could buy a scope, a really high-end scope. Just there's better things to buy than purchasing a laser from the get-go for your night vision stuff. I get it. Some of us have not PEQ 15s. Some of us have PVS 14s, and we love our PVS 14s. And we had to choose between, having food on the table. Don't choose between that. Please just don't. It's not worth it. But you know, if you have the money and you're in a good position, buy one. This is definitely worth it. But it's not worth trying to put a Somogear PEQ on your main squeeze or your gun or your fighting rifle. I would definitely say if you want a better option for night vision, if you're wanting to use a red dot under night vision, just buy a Unity riser with a T1, or I'm sorry, a T2, or use a Unity riser on a Neotech. For me, I found a solution where if you use an Neotech with a I want to say a 3/4 mount or 3/4 riser, you'll get, you know, about 233 inches of the setup, seeing basically the same height as, or taller than the Unity height, and just as tall as a Knight's Armament skyscraper with a T2 on it. So what I'm getting at is that there are better options out there. If you really want to cut corners, you can do what I did, which is basically buy a Chinesium 3/4 riser and throw on a Neotech. And I've been doing that for about the last year, and it works fine. But I would definitely say a passive red dot is probably going to be better than using a knockoff PEQ, in my opinion. I think there's going to be a couple of detractors out there saying, well, I've got mine to work. Great. You know, if you want to shoot, if you shoot, you know, less than 500 rounds a year, it might work. But what happens if you shoot more than 2,000 rounds a year? I shoot about 4,000 to 5,000 rounds a year with pistol and rifle. I want to say with pistol and rifle, I would say definitely more than that. I don't know the round count, but based on my purchase for ammo, I've been spending about 5,000 rounds of ammo this year for just for training and just shooting and having fun with friends. So there's just better things out there, and I'm just trying to tell you right now, it is not worth trying to buy a Somogear for your real firearm. Just don't. Please don't. But that's pretty much it. If you do want to buy one, it's up to you. For airsoft, again, it's worth it. But I would say please don't point in any of your friends with airsoft, because this is not meant to be a LASIK device. And I get it. Everyone signed a waiver. So that's pretty much it. And I'm sorry if this has been, you know, trying to sound doom and gloom, but I'm just trying to tell people out here it's not worth it. And I told many people not to do it, and they did it anyways. But that's pretty much it for me. So if you guys liked the video, hit the like button. If you guys dislike the video, hit the dislike button twice. Subscribe if you haven't already. And my name is David Lee, and I'm Asian with Hat, and we'll see you guys in the next video.